What's good YouTube, Menasteel here, and in today's video we're taking on the Pachirisu EX Expert Solo Battle with a deck that's not only all water, but also 3 diamonds or less in order to take down both those tasks in one go. But before we break down the deck that I will be using, it's best to look at the deck that we're going against, which in this case is basically the 3 EX lightning types in the game put together, and thus we're facing Pikachu, Zapdos, and Pachirisu. A personal note is that they don't tend to really focus on Zapdos. Maybe it's because the challenge itself is like Pachirisu / Pikachu, that the Zapdos is definitely there. They'll start with it, but they never like truly build it up to 3, or at least they've never had the time to actually do so. Like they definitely prioritize Pikachu and Pachirisu. It's good to note that the most Pikachu could do, because it does have type advantage, is 110, and Pachirisu could only do 100. I know those are like huge numbers for 2 energy, but when it comes to what we're trying to do, it comes in handy knowing that they can't hit higher than that. Another thing is their HP totals. The fact that they focus on Pikachu and Pachirisu kind of leaves it that where their max with Cape is just 140. Rarely do you see Zapdos at 150, and if it is, it's never at 3 energy, so it's not dealing damage to like actually make a difference. So that's a huge thing about this list, is that damage output and the HP values are low enough where we could get a little greedy or play a little slower. But they do have Cyrus, so a big part of the plan that we're doing is just having somebody in the front taking the damage while we build up the back. And that's how we take up, which is why I'm excited to show you the list that I came up for this, because I finally found use for one of my favorite Pokemon, Blastoise. And I honestly believe this list is probably the best way to tackle both challenges in just one go, as this list has everything that we mentioned, with a body that could be in the front, whether it's Manaphy or Frosmoth, like buying you time while you build up Blastoise. Then there obviously is the occasional game with Misty that you just get lucky, ramp up immediately, and then start putting pressure where it doesn't matter what they're doing. Baby Blastoise, or basically non-EX Blastoise, when fueled with 5 energy, is able to deal 140, which if we go back to the list that they're playing, even with Cape, their main attackers, Pikachu and Pachirisu, are capped at 140. So once you have Blastoise built up in the back, you're basically free to just start swinging and winning the game outright. Also, we have 150 HP, and like I said, their max hits are 110 and 100. So again, it's all comes up to having bodies in the front while you build up your Blastoise. And that's all she wrote, which is why we're playing Dawn, to also like speed up because Manaphy's gonna spread out 2 energy, so eventually like you're able to get Dawn. The Dawn will come helpful. It's like a secondary Misty, almost more consistent than Misty, and we're playing 1 Pokemon communication in order to fit the Dawn, and it also helps with the consistency of finding the Blastoise or the Wartortle or the piece that you're missing overall. Ultimately, their deck isn't aggressive enough to like win outright if we draw properly. And the fact that we have Frosmoth that could buy us time with sleep, or Manaphy just taking a hit or 2 before we go into the Blastoise line, makes for like a pretty easy victory, as you will see in the gameplay that follows this video. With that said, if you guys enjoyed the content or this video helped you in any way, please consider liking and subscribing, as it means a lot to me. And above all else, stay pro. Alright, we get to go first, so we do get evolution like advantage. I don't know if it'll be enough though, especially with us starting Squirtle. I mean, I guess it depends on how many bench Pokemon they have here. Misty helps as well, I guess. Let's go Pokeball first, and then research. Go research here. Manaphy. Manaphy would have been great in the front, but let's start here and see where it takes us. We'll probably Misty the Squirtle next turn and choose what to do from there. Alright, so they started Zapdos, Rotom. Okay, so they have no intention of attacking Pikachu next turn, which is huge for us. Let's go Misty on the Squirtle. That's unfortunate. If we evolve here, it kind of messes us up. But we do start swinging for 40. We could definitely evolve here without any issues. I don't want to put an energy here. Or we're just going to leave that Squirtle out to the... Honestly, yeah, that's what we'll do. That Squirtle's bait now. And we just got to hope to build up into Blastoise in time. X speed, interesting. Okay, going straight for the attack on Zapdos. But like I mentioned in the profile, they never build up Zapdos to that 3 energy. Okay, we have a Dawn, which doesn't do much for us currently. So we'll just do this. Into this. Last turn. Ideally, we would... They're gonna knock out Squirtle. So it's not ideally, it's like what's gonna happen is that they're gonna knock out Squirtle. We're gonna ramp with Manaphy, and what I meant by ideally is that hopefully we see the Blastoise in time. We essentially have 2 turns to see it. But once we see it, we're basically guaranteed the win. And then there he is. And if you're wondering why it's guaranteed, I'll let the game speak for itself. Or, I guess since this video is for me to explain to y'all, let's not leave it the game explain for itself. Basically, once they knock out Manaphy, we put Blastoise up front. The energy that we have coming up with the one from Dawn puts us to the threshold of hitting for 140. And their list has no form of Sabrina. It does have Cyrus, but that's why we're just letting the things that are up front just go. But essentially this is the heart of the deck, or like this is the whole game plan. There we get our 2 points, and then they'll usually go Pachirisu, yeah. Which again, like I said, they focus so much on Pikachu and Pachirisu that even with Cape we one-shot it with Blastoise, and they can't one-shot us back. You see? Like the only way they survive here is by caping the Zapdos and putting Zapdos out. And they might prove me wrong, but even then, you see, they don't focus on building up Zapdos, so it's never a danger. Like it'd be a danger if you're going to get somebody real, but in this situation, it's not. And that's my first example. So you're perfectly fine. And that's how most games will go. The worst case is like, you know, like any deck that has a stage 2, you just don't see the Blastoise or the War Turtle and it delays too much. But once you play a replay where you get to, or an attempt where you get to the Blastoise, you should be fine from there. On to the next one. Alright, going first again. And this time, we'll start Snom. Not ideal, because clearly we want Manaphy, but it's not the worst either. Squirtle starting is probably the worst one. There's the Manaphy. A little late, but Misty could come in handy as well. We're trying to thin the deck out as much as possible, because War Turtle does end up being like the deciding factor here when we have all the pieces. Alright, so again, we're not really scared of anything until, because they can't attack until the next turn. So we'll buy quite a few minutes of time, especially with research. And we'll prioritize building up the Squirtle here. Yeah, so let's see here. There's the War Turtle. So I think now that we have it, it's actually worth trying to Misty here first. And that's beautiful. Even if it was one, it was great. But now we're really in the money. Because now they knock out Pachirisu, then we use the turn on ramping with Manaphy. Again, they don't have any Sabrinas. They have Cyrus, but again, everything we're putting up is so they could take it. We're not letting anything get hurt and then taking it back. So that will never be a problem. The reason we don't go Blastoise already is because he does need 5 energy in order to deal max damage. I guess we could do this. There's not much else to do. I'm just going like through the motions here, but it all comes down to, it's basically a game from here on. Once the Blastoise is online, honestly the only thing that will make you reset is not seeing one of the 3 pieces. Like if you break on not seeing War Turtle or Blastoise. which just would require it to retry and you'll get it. Alright, so for 140, we knock out Pachirisu. And if they don't have a cape for Zapdos, which they probably won't, actually they might go with Zapdos here because Pikachu can't swim next turn. But they'll probably go Zapdos and then put an energy on Pikachu. Like, they won't build up Zapdos for whatever reason. They have all the power in the world to make me look bad now, but you'll see. Look at that. Energy on Rotom. Like, what is that? Yeah, no, the machine's broken at this point. It's all good. Again, all you have to worry about is building up Blastoise, giving it as much energy as possible so that basically everything is a one-shot. And that's the beauty of this deck. Ultimately, this video is to help you guys figure out how to beat the Pachirisu EX Expert Solo mission. And I hope the list alongside the gameplay helps you do that, whether it's recreating it or using the information to build your own list. A few little things that you could change around in this list would be like Snom and Frosmoth could be like any other water line. Like there's also Blastoise as my final hit. You could also take your chances with Kingler that for a coin flip could hit up to 160 and only requires 3 energy, so less build up. Also just a stage 1. All of these have like the same concept, which is just hitting hard and doing it like efficiently while surviving hits from their side. Maybe upping Pokemon communication could also help. But other than that, this deck was pretty straightforward. You have to build up Blastoise and then just one-shot everything. Things that I usually mentioned earlier, but it's still the same, is as nice as this Blastoise is, you can't use it. I was happy that I finally found a use for Blastoise as a whole, like the non-EX version, because the EX version is still a pretty fun deck, although it's, you know, it gets power crept by Palkia and all that. That's not what we're here to talk about. And then the other one's clearly the new Manaphy card, has this beautiful art. Neither of those could be used because they won't count towards the 3 diamonds or less challenge. If you're just using this deck for the all water types, then go ahead and use them. And that's all I have to say for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it helped you. And again, if you enjoyed the content, consider liking and subscribing. And above all else, stay pro.